In fact, water pollution is one of the main ways that human activities harm our environment. The most common type of water pollution, called nutrient pollution, comes from the nitrogen and phosphorus in things like agricultural fertilizers, human sewage, detergents, and animal wastes. The badly polluted water we see here is in a lake that has been contaminated by the runoff from nearby farm fields. In this case, all of the extra nutrients in the water act like food and cause the lake's natural population of microscopic plant-like creatures called algae to grow very rapidly, creating what is called an algal bloom. The billions upon billions of new algae cells have turned the water into a thick green soup, which is not good to drink and is not good to swim in. After an algal bloom occurs, the overcrowded algae die and decay. When this happens, life-supporting oxygen in the water is used up by decomposer bacteria. This can create areas of water called dead zones, where very few aquatic creatures can survive due to the lack of oxygen. In the USA, one quite famous dead zone, created mostly by nutrient-rich farm runoff carried down the Mississippi River, develops each year in the Gulf of Mexico, right in the same area that was recently damaged by polluted water from the worst oil spill in U.S. history. Because when oil escapes from drilling platforms or from damaged tanker ships, it harms seabirds and poisons creatures that live in the water. In fact, both oil and nutrient pollution have done serious damage to the shrimping and fishing industries in this area of the United States. But nutrient pollution occurs all around the world. In rivers like this one in Asia, much of it is caused by the millions of gallons of untreated human waste or sewage that pours into its waters each day. Besides creating dead zones, sewage-polluted water causes other problems too, because it tends to be packed with disease-causing organisms. In fact, waterborne diseases from sewage-polluted water result in the deaths of nearly 2 million people each year. That's because, worldwide, huge numbers of people use contaminated water every day for washing, drinking, and bathing. And that's why every nation in the world needs to have proper sanitation facilities and sewage treatment plants that remove pollutants and disease-causing organisms from water. Chemical poisons are another main cause of water pollution. They get into our environment from activities like farming, mining, and manufacturing. For example, the poisonous insecticides sprayed onto crops can easily wash into streams and harm aquatic creatures. Insecticides create other problems too, because besides killing the destructive pests they were intended for, the deadly sprays also kill beneficial insects like honeybees and can destroy helpful organisms in the soil too. That's why right now, some farmers are switching over to organic farming methods that don't rely on poisonous chemicals or artificial fertilizers, and doing so is proving to be very beneficial to the environment. Carelessly discarded trash is creating another big environmental problem in the world today, in part because these materials easily find their way into streams and oceans. Plastic, which makes up most of the trash on the beach we see here, is an especially troublesome material because it doesn't naturally decay, so it remains in the environment for a very long time, often creating an ugly mess which can make a trip to the beach rather unpleasant. It's interesting to note that way out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is a huge area of water that environmentalists call the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's twice the size of Texas and is estimated to contain about 100 million tons of floating plastic waste. All that trash harms the ocean environment. Sea turtles, for example, are dying from swallowing plastic bags, which they mistake for the jellyfish they like to eat. The trash pollution of Earth's waters and shores would end quite quickly if people stopped littering, shopped with reusable bags, and started using biodegradable packaging materials that break down quickly into substances that don't harm our environment. The main thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to our environment, everything that we do matters tremendously, and that's why we need to be so careful about how our actions are affecting the delicate web of life on our planet.